My name is Greta, and we're here today with the co-hosts of the Global Disability Summit 2025 to talk about their expectations and aspiration for the upcoming Global Disability Summit to be held in Berlin on the 2nd and 3rd of April 2025. In this podcast, we will be discussing their insights and their expectations for the upcoming summit, while also reflecting on lessons learned. So without any further ado, I will introduce you to our wonderful speakers. I have with me the Commissioner of the Global Disability Summit for Germany, Mr. Hans-Peter Bauer. We have the Secretary General of the Higher Council for the Rights of Persons with Disabilities in Jordan, Dr. Muhannad Al-Azeh, and we have the Interim Executive Director of the International Disability Alliance, Jose Vieira. So welcome to all of you. Thank you for your time. I'll be asking you some questions. I invite you to answer them with your views and also to offer us reflection on each other's answers. My first question for all of you is to share your journey in the Global Disability Summit process. So, Jose, we will start with you. If you can give us your thoughts on what a journey has been for IDA since 2018, and let's start from there.
Thank you, Greta, and thank you also to Germany and Jordan for being so committed and so generous in this journey of advancing disability rights for all persons with disabilities. IDA, as a permanent co-host of the Global Disability Summit, started the first edition back in 2018 with the clear understanding that in order to advance the implementation of the Convention on the Right of Persons with Disabilities, there was a need, and still is the case, for more investment and more commitment from the whole system, including governments, UN agencies, civil society, and OPDs, to advance at all levels the CRPD. We are still in this great journey that has given us a lot of good results. And in this case, the third Global Disability Summit will be, in our view, a fantastic legacy, because now we know more how to do the job, we know more what we want, and even more importantly, we as the three co-hosts are committed to make sure that really when we talk about advancing the rights of people with disabilities, we make it happen at all levels and through partnerships and sustainable change.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jose, for this reflection. I now come to Germany and Jordan. Mr. Bauer, can you tell us a bit about what motivated you to become a co-host of the GDS?
Yeah, thank you. We come from the point that we ratified the CRPD in the year 2009. And so we fully recognize that it's an obligation for all of us to implement the CRPD. And the feeling was that there is not enough momentum, not enough endeavor in implementing the CRPD, and so it was only logical that we decided to after these wonderful first two summits in London and in Norway, when the Norwegian Prime Minister asked our Chancellor Olaf Scholz to take over, we had been very keen to take over and to together with IDA and our esteemed colleagues from Jordan to go into this adventure to live up to our common ambition, our joint ambition, to have a successful summit in Berlin and Amman, so to say, with support by IDA, where we are able to put the point of ownership and political will in the center. Because if there is not enough political will, we will not reach any results. And I think that has been lacking a bit in the past, and so that will be in the center. And so we try to get decision makers from all over the world to Berlin and to take ownership and to make the right decisions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Muhannad, can you tell us a bit more regarding the journey of HCD in becoming a GDS co-host?
Thank you very much, Greta, and very honored to be with two dear friends, I would say, not even colleagues. And this is maybe to me one of the main outcomes and the pros of the GDS, that we really have new great friends from Germany, from IDA. For Jordan, because I would say we have a good in achievements, and we have absolutely a great political will a long time ago in order to promote the rights of persons with disabilities. It began when His Majesty was awarded the Frank Brosefeld Award about disability rights, and then with the ratification, we've been one of the first countries ratifying the CRPD and publish it in the official gazette. Then this effort was crowned by adopting one of the most progressive anti-discrimination law in the region on the rights of persons with disabilities, with full consultation with organizations of persons with disabilities. So based on this, I would say, legacy and this continuous work in the disability field, Jordan, and we are very proud of that, was perceived by different, I would say, entities as a highly qualified Global South co-host. And our journey started or began in 2022. In this conference in Norway, which was online, His Majesty took part in the opening session by delivering a recorded message. And this message really reflected the political will of Jordan at the top level to promote and enhance the inclusion and the rights of persons with disabilities. In the same year, by the way, our constitution was amended to reform the language and some articles, and now it became very human rights based regarding disability rights. So since that time, with both IDA and Germany, we started very enjoyable, hard but very enjoyable, I would say, a journey in improving, developing the substance and the materials for GDS 2025, which everybody in the three teams really believes that it's going to be a milestone, a turning point. And I would say from day one, Jordan vision was that we want really 2025 to be different, and we launched from His Royal Highness, the chair, Prince Mirad, the chair of our council, the very well-known sentence now that we want the wow effect, meaning that we really want Berlin 2025 to be noticeable, remarkable, turning point for heads of states, decision makers, even for activists, OPDs, and it's gonna to be something I'm sure really different, and we are looking forward to this moment in April.
Thank you so much, and thanks to all three of you for starting us on such a strong note. I now want to reflect on what your specific hopes and targets for GDS 2025 are. So my question to Mr. Bauer would be, how do you see and how do you envision the GDS contributing to a stronger and more inclusive development outcomes? And specifically, if we go back to the concept of partnerships that was introduced by Jose. So over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Greta. I would like to take up the points you mentioned and the points I mentioned before. That's ownership, that's political will, commitment, and partnerships. And that we would like to strengthen, particularly so that we could strive for more multilateral cooperation, multi-stakeholder cooperation. That would be, for us, the focus. And at the very end, really living up to the ambition to implement the obligation. We do not talk about charity. That's very important. We talk about obligations, and any government who will attend and any government on this world, on the other hand, and any government who ratified this CRPD is obliged to implement. And the feeling was in the past that implementation lacks, and there are many gaps in implementing the convention and to provide people with disabilities with the means they need and the supports they need. That's, and particularly in countries where the politics is not attending so much to these issues. And I think that should be an outcome of Berlin Amman, so to say, that we get decision makers, that we get politicians to acknowledge the ownership for this issue, for this theme, for this political field, and to go into implementation, and real implementation, and not only lip service. We have only 5 years to complete the Agenda 2030, the Sustainable Development Goals, and I think we will not be able to reach these goals if we leave 15% of mankind behind. So if we would like to address this obligation, leave no one behind, we have to take it serious, and we can only do it with joint endeavors, and therefore we are partnering up, and I think that's a good starting point for the future as well, no? Getting more partners in the boat. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I see nodding from your co-hosts, so I'm glad to see everyone is in agreement. Dr. Muhannad, you spoke about Jordanian legacy in getting into the GDS 2025. So I would like to hear from you on specific outcomes that Jordan aims to achieve through the GDS 2025 that you think can have a long-lasting impact in the region.
Yeah, thank you, Greta. I would build on what what Hans actually mentioned. Whether we like it or not, we do know that, unfortunately, the disability in general, it's not one of the top priorities in large number of countries. It's not on the agenda, or if it's on the agenda, then It's not really at the high ladder of priorities. So we don't have this opportunity, not every day. We don't have it even every year. We don't have it every 2 years to have a group of heads of states in one room with the stakeholders from different countries, different cultures, from different positions, representatives of their own organizations, families, children, individual activists, to speak up and to express their rights and to let their voices heard by these heads of states. Not only heads of states, there will be high decision makers, ministers, prime ministers. So I do believe that having such high level of representation at the decision-making level, meanwhile having such an incredible diversity in terms of experiences, practices, at the policy level, at the practical level, whether institutional or even at very local initiative levels, such atmosphere absolutely would give you no doubt that there must be concrete results. I'm sure everybody will go back to their countries with different persuasion, different vision, different angle that he or she perceives the disability from. So I do expect that this, I would say GDS will create two main things. It will make a change, I'm not saying a radical, but a good change at the mindset level for the attendees and the participants. And second, it will create a very positive kind of quote unquote competition, maybe some jealousy, not too bad. I mean, like people, they want really to be as good as others, and this is very good. This is what we want. We want this positive competition between countries, between entities, in order really to achieve the best for persons with disabilities. And last but not least, I think the main responsibility is not only on the decision makers, and this is what always Jose, Hans, myself, we are saying, that the real effort will begin after April 3rd, because there will be a huge responsibility first on the OPDs in order to monitor and observe the implementation of these commitments, and then hopefully that there will be absolutely a great partnership, as Hans mentioned, between different stakeholders in order to achieve our own and our common goal to make the disability really, not in theory, a form of diversity and mainstreamed in all sectors.
Thank you so much, Muhannad. You introduced the idea of the role of organization of persons with disabilities in the Global Disability Summit and beyond. And I think one of the main objectives, if not the main objective, is to achieve this change through the submission of commitments. So I would like to go to Jose and ask him what he thinks is the role of organization of persons with disabilities in the drafting, submission, and then monitoring of the commitments.
Thank you, Greta. First of all, I really want to echo what our two good friends have said. I think it's absolutely important that state representatives, in this case from Germany and Jordan, really acknowledge, on one hand, the gaps that we still face as a disability community, but at the same time, the opportunities that the Global Disability Summit can generate to actually close those gaps. So we, as Organization of Persons with Disabilities, we have been saying this for years and years, but it's clear now that we have an increased number of partners and supporters that are not only understanding what we are saying, what we are advocating for, but also making that change that we all want. So in that context, a couple of reflections to respond to your question. The disability community, 15% of the world population, has been organized around representative organizations. If there is something that I think we as a disability movement we should be proud of, is that capacity from early days to understand the importance of coming together through representative platforms to fight for a common goal, and that is social inclusion. And I think as a social movement, back in 1999 and up to 2006, we maybe made the biggest contribution to our societies, and that was the adoption of the Convention on the Right of People with Disabilities. But we, as we like to say, we are an ambitious movement. We always push our frontiers out, and we want more. And I think after almost 20 years of the convention and only 5 years to reach the 2030, we are clearly now seeing that all these great commitments, all these fantastic achievements, all this progress made, especially in the recognition of the role of Organization of Persons with Disabilities, should be translated into real action. And I think the Global Disability Summit is actually the tool, the unlocking power to transform political commitments into real impact on the life of persons with disabilities. And as it cannot be otherwise, Organization of Persons with Disabilities should always be in the driving seat, and we are grateful for the recognition by Jordan and Germany and previous co-host of the Global Disability Summit in that unique characteristic of Organization of Persons with Disabilities being in the driving seat. But if we have to kind of be very pragmatic, what does it mean in the context of the Global Disability Summit to be in the driving seat, to be leading the change that we all want? And there are many angles that we can look at this pragmatic approach of understanding the role of Organization of Persons with Disabilities. The first, and it's already what we do in every edition of the Global Disability Summit, is understanding and collecting from OPDs the demands and the need of the movement. We are absolutely convinced that consultation with Organization of Persons with Disabilities, with representative Organization of Persons with Disabilities, is key to make sure that what we are going to do through the Global Disability Summit is meaningful for people with disabilities. So consultation is absolutely key. The second element that we do in the Global Disability Summit in putting OPDs in the center is basically to understand that Organization of Persons with Disabilities can advocate for commitments. And in this particular edition, we have, in my view, made one of the biggest innovation that we, in a way, redefine what it means to submit a good commitment, to have a good commitment. And in that redefinition, both Dr. Mohamed and Dr. Bawe have clearly said already commitments that are impactful based on partnership with clear financial compromises as well, etc., etc. An Organization of Persons with Disabilities, we play a role that is very important because we know what we need, but we also have accumulated experience and skills in actually supporting the design of those commitments. But I think together with Germany and Jordan, we wanted to go one step farther and said not only that we should define priorities and help in the design of the commitments, but also be recognized as equal partners when it comes to the implementation of commitments. And finally, we, as an organization of persons with disabilities, are very familiarized and better equipped than previous years in monitoring the implementation of different instruments. We do that with the CRPD, our most important element in the disability rights agenda, but we also do that around the Sustainable Development Goals, and we also do it around the Global Disability Summit commitments. So I think if I have to summarize the role of OPDs using a couple of keywords, I would say for good commitments, meaningful consultation, supporting in the design, equal partners for the implementation, and be the monitoring mechanisms for the effective implementation of the commitments. It's absolutely important that that process is done through representative organizations that also should include those most marginalized groups within the disability community. We know that there are a lot of underrepresented groups. There is an element of intersection between disabilities and other elements of identity, and we are absolutely committed that when we say putting OPDs in the center, and it's our commitment, to include every person of this 15% population that is persons with disabilities in the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jose. Building on your answer, could you tell us a bit more about what's your plan and what's the plan of the International Disability Alliance as the permanent co-host of the Global Disability Summit to measure the long-term success of these commitments and to sustain the force of the Global Disability Summit?
So the sustainability and continuation of the summit will depend, I would say, among many factors, on two very important ones. The first one is our capacity as permanent co-hosts to get good partners for this journey. And so far, we had 6 fantastic partners: the government of UK, Kenya, Norway, Ghana, and for this edition, Germany and Jordan. But in the end, what we try to achieve through partnering with member states in this endeavor of the GDS is really to have disability champions from member states when it comes to advancing the implementation of the convention. We all know that implementing the convention is not an easy task, and it's a long process. But we need those disability champions, those who are not only ready to lead the path, but ready to bring more member states and UN agencies and private sector companies and civil society more broadly on this boat. As Dr. Bauer and Dr. Mohana said, the commitment of Germany and Jordan is not just to have a good GDS, but to have a GDS 2025 legacy that is around bringing more people, more stakeholders together. In addition to that, I think that the second big element of making a GDS a successful endeavor is basically to have more and better commitments. Why we need commitments? Because as Dr. Mohana said, the reality of persons with disabilities is for sure far from what we would like to be. And in that maybe ideal dream of closing the gap between what we want for us and what is our current reality, the GDS can be that bridge that can bring those two pieces together. We want more commitments, but now we want commitments that really change the life of people with disabilities.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jose. I'm now looking at Mr. Bauer, Dr. Muhannad. If you have any closing remarks or addition to what Jose just outlined, I would be more than happy to hear from you. Mr. Bauer?
Yeah, I would say get ready, come to Berlin and commit yourself.
Thank you so much.
I would say nothing to me more expressive than the slogan we came up together, more than billion reason commit to change in GDS 2025.
Thank you. Thank you so much to all three of you for participating in this very short but hopefully engaging podcast. Thank you for offering your views and for being so transparent and motivating. I think we've heard a lot, so I will leave it to your final words. Once again, inviting all of you watching us to register to attend the Global Disability Summit, to join us in Berlin, in person, or virtually, and really engage in the process, and most importantly to support this very, very important event and mechanism by calling for commitments, using our advocacy messages, and really participating in this process. Thanks to our speakers, and thanks to all of you.